Continuum's client, a large global supermarket chain, had a requirement to forecast product sales data over a 12-week period in a bid to understand what degree of success their products could enjoy in the marketplace based upon their historic sales data. They already had a legacy process in place to achieve this. However, it was extremely time-consuming for those business analysts to join, cleanse, and analyze all of the required data. On top of this, the forecasted results when compared with the actual data in subsequent periods proved to be inaccurate, leading to a lack of confidence in the reported figures by those decision makers. Continuum delivered an Alteryx Designer solution that automatically and reliably transformed, cleansed, and joined all of the required data, performed those forecast calculations, and output the results in a fraction of the time versus the traditional approach. So let's take a look at this solution in action. So what you're seeing here on the screen at the moment is the Alteryx Designer window. The Alteryx workflows you can see on the screen are built out by these tools, which are simply strung along together and joined up with one another, coming from this toolbar at the top. Each tool is split out depending on their function. You should see here illustrated by their shape and their color. So we start off here with this process. We're using this e-commerce contract quantities file. This file is an Excel based file and is downloaded directly from the supermarket's source system. This is exactly how it comes, but you can see it is a little bit messy. So what we do is a few steps of data processing, i.e. drop some fields, skip one of these rows, rename these fields, and give them a cleanse. So now it becomes a table and a bit of data we can start to use in this process. Now previously, before we go ahead and join to the previous sales data, some of the codes for the products, as you can see here, previously had older codes. So what we do is we bring in a mapping file for the old codes here, and then just go ahead and summarize them, saying that, for example, this product code here 1378, as at 2017, it used to have this code of 8145. Now what we do is we go ahead and, after a little bit of prep, join these together so we just get to such a point where we can say this was the particular code that we're looking for, and what we're going to do is try and join to the previous sales data based on this code. If we can't find that, go ahead and join on that old code and see what we can get. So this is the last time that product went live. So we're going to use this date to go ahead and join to our previous sales data in just a moment. But what we want in order to get some historic data for our forecast is we want to pull back 5 weeks of previous sales data. Then what we're going to go ahead and do with that 5 weeks of previous sales data is go ahead and calculate another 7 weeks of data using the time series forecasting. So before we can go ahead and join to this previous sales data, what we need to do is get one row for each one of the dates that we need to join to the previous sales data. Now the way in which we do this is using this tool here called generate rows. So what we want to do is simply say take this go live date and keep adding one date, give me one extra row for the next day for the next 34 days. We use this condition expression and this loop expression here for code 700124. Rather than having simply this first date here, we now have one date for the first 35 days that product was on sale. Now this allows us to go ahead and join to the previous sales data very easily, and we can get back the quantities of those products that were sold for those particular 5 weeks. Now after joining the codes, and if not joining by the old codes, there are some products that actually don't join at all. So it's illustrated by this left output here on the join. So these products are possibly brand new and haven't actually previously been sold. So therefore we're not going to have any data on these product codes, and we'll go ahead and push them out here and exclude them from the process. This is output to its own Excel file, and this allows supermarket analysts to analyze these products here and exclude them from any reporting. So now once we've joined to the previous sales data, we'll just union up all of our data, so we've got one big data set again, and now we'll pump them into these two orange tools you can see here on screen. These two tools are the TS Time Series tools, and they utilize the R library, which is embedded within Alteryx. So we're going to make use of the ARIMA Time Series Forecasting model. We're going to predict the quantity field, and then we're going to group by the code because we want one calculation performed for each one of our product codes. And the time period type we have here is daily. So what we do is we push them into these two tools here. This first one creates the group, and then the second one actually calculates the forecast. After a little bit of tidy up, then we can see for this particular code here, on forecast day 36, so that's the first day after those 5 weeks, we're predicting to sell this many. Now what we do is we take the data we had for the first 5 weeks based upon that previous sales data, and then take the subsequent 7 weeks worth of data and then union them back up. So we get this full data set now which forecasts how many of the products we're going to sell for that full 12-week period. Now this table doesn't look quite right just yet. Before we go ahead and output, what we do is use this transformation tool called crosstab and then pivot that data across. This puts it into a format and makes it a little bit easier for human eyes to read. Now this gives us the codes along with all of the quantities we're forecasted to sell during our 12-week periods, but what we do is we simply join back now to the original file which gives us all of the static data about those products. Now after a little bit of cleanup and tidying up to get to such a point here, all we simply do at the very end to finish this process off is to output it into an Excel based format. In order to better represent this data now, what you can do is take this output from this workflow, which is automatically and reliably now produced, and overlay something like Power BI or Tableau or any sort of visualization software to really start make this data come to life.